We are opposites today. I
Oh
am
my God.
freezing.
I'm having hot flashes
And you probably have a fever.
and I probably, yeah, so I do have a cold. So if I sound odd, I can only hear out of one ear. Like things are going well. And if you hear the odd sniffle, I apologize. I'm really trying to hold it together. I literally have a roll of toilet paper sitting here.
Yes, the toilet paper.
The
You
old
know,
trickaroo.
I just figured as adults that we would be using like Kleenex boxes, and we're not.
No,
We're not.
I
But
am not spending $7 on something I put my snot in to throw in the garbage.
I know it's a
Like,
little
come on.
ridiculous.
We're not that fancy around here.
And now they have Kleenexes that have aloe in it and peppermint essential oils. And I'm like, maybe there will be a day where I will care that much. But today is not it.
Fuck, slap a little Nivea on your nose, a little Vaseline, carry on with your day. Like, come on.
I know. It's so
And
true.
I'm also, like, I've been to your house and you guys do buy the expensive toilet paper.
We do.
Yeah. I don't. So, like,
No way.
whatever's on sale, like, you get what you get. I can't justify. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on with these people that are spending like $40 for a pack of fucking tissue to wipe your ass and then flush it into a sewage system? I won't do it. I won't.
Yeah, we will. We will.
Yeah. You're fancy.
I have a fancy tush. What can I say?
Yeah.
We got to take care of this.
I wonder if my ass will get more bougie with age. Am I ratchet?
We don't know. We don't know. We're about to find out. If you are tuning in to our YouTube video, you will see that Ashley and I look like we're at opposite ends of the planet because I am freezing and wearing a hoodie, which I try not to do on the podcast, but today's the day. And Ash is in a tank top because she's so hot.
I don't know if anyone out there is going through the change or having hot flashes, but it's enough to like, and I don't believe murder is ever the answer, but there have been these rage moments.
Mhm.
I'm sitting by myself and all of a sudden I get this intense rage and it's like heat and I'm like, I feel like the Hulk. Like I'm ready to like rip my clothes off and blow through the window. It's a time, guys. It's a time. It's fine. It's going to be fine.
I vividly remember being a teenager and getting up to go to the bathroom at like 10:30 at night and my mom standing in the snow on the front lawn in shorts and a t-shirt.
It's a whole thing.
And I remember just being like, I'm not even going to ask because what's wrong with you?
Because we become fucking crazy in our 40s.
But like, Mom, I get it. I fully get it. We're there. It's arriving.
Yep. Okay.
So, Ash.
Yeah.
You know, I love it when I get going on a case and then I get curious and I end up uncovering some shit I wasn't planning on.
Oh, yes.
And you know, I extra love it when I find connections between true crime and the paranormal.
Well, yes, bon oui.
And this is exactly what happened in this episode.
Yes.
We've all seen Law and Order, Suits, Succession, etc., and we have a general idea of how a trial goes down. We got judge, jury, witnesses, testimony, evidence. It's a fairly standard staple of society. But what if I told you sometimes it's not as straightforward? Today, I am exploring 3 cases where the paranormal ended up making an appearance in the court of law.
Listen, you know that TikTok that's going on? It's like, stop talking dirty to me. That's like what I'm hearing in my head.
It had started with the first case I'm going to tell you about, and I wrote the whole case. I was all excited about it. And then there was that little tiny voice in my head that said, what if there's more? And baby, there is. There is. All right. Now, before I even get started, I have no idea the proper pronunciation of this kid's name.
Welcome to my world.
It's Arne. So I'm calling him Arne. I don't know if it's Arne.
Is that so Canadian of us to say? Arne.
Arne? I don't know. I'm calling him Arne. If it's wrong, it's wrong.
Arne.
I don't know what to tell you. Arne Cheyenne Johnson was just 19. a hard worker, steady, polite, the kind of young man people described as a good kid. He had a job, a girlfriend named Debbie Glatzel, and plans for a simple, solid life. In May of 1980, he moved in with Debbie and her family, Debbie's parents, her siblings, and her youngest brother, 11-year-old David. At first, everything seemed normal, but David started saying things, and they were weird. He told his parents he kept seeing an old man, not just in dreams, but in the house. And immediately I'm like, well, you got to go, David. You've brought something in here. You got to go.
But also you have to wonder, okay, are we talking about early onset? Because we're at the age where if you were going to start presenting schizophrenia ideation, that would be the time. But we like to go to the far end of other things. Because,
he went to the far end.
Okay.
His parents would be like, what does he look like? Because initially when your kid says, I keep seeing an old man in the house, because we're logical, you go to who? Like, what old man is coming into our house? I need to know details. So he says he's an old man with dark eyes, a torn plaid shirt, and his skin is burnt.
And that's very precise. That's not just like he's wearing a hat and a jacket walking around. He's like got very distinctive features, this man.
And they're like burnt, like sunburnt? Like, is he tanned? And he was like, no, like he was on fire. They're like, perfect. David's like, he's toasty. Like,
okie dokie then.
Yeah. And even worse, David said the man threatened him, told him he would steal his soul. At first, the family thought he's just imagining things. Maybe this is a nightmare. Maybe it's his way of getting attention. At that age, they're testing the boundaries. But then they started hearing noises, growling, scratching in the walls, heavy footsteps when no one else was home. David would thrash in his sleep, which breaks my heart. And he would wake up covered in scratches and bruises.
Now, scratches and bruises that he could have inflicted on himself?
Well, then came the voices, Ash. Because, just like the Enfield poltergeist that we just covered, David started speaking in voices that weren't his own. They were guttural and animalistic, and sometimes they were Latin words that he couldn't have possibly known.
We need to call the Catholic Church. We need to fucking make him unknowingly drink holy water. Like, I'm all in for this.
Yeah. So I have great news because that's exactly what they did. They turned to the church.
Yeah.
Priests were called, blessings were performed, but nothing stopped it. So finally, desperate and terrified, the Glatzels reached out to two people whose names would become synonymous with the supernatural. And it's Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I knew it. I fangirl so hard when I hear
I was going to say, you are the definition of lady boner when it comes to the Warrens. Like, you love them.
I mean, they did something and brought things to our attention that no one else has.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know what? No matter where you stand on the Warrens, they played a huge role in paranormal research and investigation. Whether you believe them, think they're whack or not, they did bring so much attention to the paranormal sphere that I don't think would have happened otherwise. So that's where we're at. So the Warrens, famed paranormal investigators, devout Catholics, and self-proclaimed demonologists, arrived at the Glatzel home that summer. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, claimed she immediately sensed something dark. Ed, the more pragmatic of the two, believed the boy was possessed. But they said there wasn't just one demon, there were dozens.
So was their house built on a portal? What's going on here? Hello?
It's a good question.
I have questions. So many.
Several exorcism sessions were held. During one, Arne, who we spoke about at the beginning, who had been watching the boy's torment, shouted at the entity. He said, "If you're so powerful, leave him and take me instead." And today's PSA, Don't taunt the demons.
No.
Because, according to every account that followed, that challenge was fully accepted. In that moment, something inside the room shifted. The temperature dropped. The boy screamed. The Warrens would later claim they felt a dark presence move from David's body to Arne's. It sounds like something from a movie because one day it would be. But for now, it was just a terrified family and a young man who'd opened a door he didn't fully understand.
I
And you
mean,
know what, Ashley?
yeah, Chantal?
I would just like to take this opportunity to tell our friends about the battle that you and I have constantly about Ouija boards. Guys, Ash is constantly like, let's do a Ouija board session. And I'm terrified of it. And I feel like we're going to open a portal and open a door to some shit we don't fully understand.
But let's put context there. Now, my
Mhm.
friends, the reason I want to do this is because we are triggered. We delve into some of the darkest, most fucked up things. And my thought on this is like, we talk a lot about this. Why not put our money where our mouth is? And we'll try it out so you don't have to. And you know what? It's either going to go two ways. Nothing is going to happen. And then we can all rest easy, or something will happen and y'all get to follow along and watch one of us get exercised. And that's in itself entertaining. Anything
we just
for
have
the
to
pod.
figure out. No, we just have to figure out where we're going to do this because, like, I can promise you, Matt and the kids are going to be like, not in this house.
Do it at my house.
Matt's going to be like, we're doing renos. You're not bringing demons up in here. Like,
Unless they're
absolutely
picking
not.
up a hammer, get out of here.
Get out of here. All right. So by early 1981, Debbie and Arne moved out of the Glatzel home. So they're getting older. They wanted a fresh start and to leave behind the chaos, the priests, the rituals. Like, regardless of what you think about these situations, that's traumatic. That's trauma. To have to watch that go down, it's a lot. So Debbie got a job at a dog kennel owned by her employer and landlord, Alan Bono, a 40-year-old man known around town as friendly, but a raging alcoholic. On February 16, 1981, Arne called in sick to his job at Right Tree Service. He joined Debbie, her sister Wanda, and Debbie's 9-year-old cousin Mary at the kennel. So Arne is not sick. Arne is pulling I can't come in today, and then hanging out with the girls. We've all done it. We've
He's
all
a
done
kid.
it. Yeah, exactly. Bono invited them to lunch. And of course, there was many drinkings occurring at lunch because we're alcoholics. So we're drinking and drinking and drinking.
Do you think drinking, and this is just like a question because I sit on both sides of the fence for this. Do you think you're more likely to be accosted by the paranormal if you have been drinking? Or do you think you're less likely? Now, I sit on both sides of this.
So this is interesting because if you are wanting to do a seance, it is just known across the planet, no matter what culture you come from, you cannot be drinking. You have to be sober if you're doing a seance. At the same time, there's a reason they call alcohol spirit.
Because I do think it like drops your inhibitions, it puts your guard down, things like that. But then on the other side of it, you're also not like in your right mind to like perceive messages. So yeah. Okay. So Buddy's an alcoholic. We're going hard.
Yeah. He's going hard. He's really going. So at the bar, Bono became animated and then agitated. And the group of kids are trying to laugh it off and they're walking back to the kennel. And Debbie can sense that there's a tension rising and was like, you know what? I'm going to take the girls for pizza. Maybe that'll diffuse the situation a little bit. And we won't, there's a weird tension in the air here between the guys. And more than anything, we have to remember there's a 9-year-old girl here. So Debbie did the right thing. She was
Gotta
like,
get her out of there.
The girls and I are, Wanda and I are going to take Mary. We're going to go get some pizza. So they go to pizza. When they return, things had turned dark. Bono, now very drunk, grabs Mary, the 9-year-old girl. He refuses to let her go. He's got her by her shoulders. He's got her around her waist. He's belligerent. Debbie panics. The girls scream at the top of their lungs. They're now freaking out. Arne steps in And what happens next depends on who you ask. Witnesses say Arne's demeanor changed. His face contorted, his voice deepened into something they had never heard before. He growled. He pulled out a pocket knife, 5 inches long, and lunged at Bono.
Mm-hmm.
He stabbed him 5 times, one piercing the chest, another slicing downward toward the heart. Bono collapsed on the ground. Arne stared as if dazed, and then Arne just walked away.
Yeah.
When police later caught up to him that night, he seemed confused. His statement was quiet, almost detached, and he said, "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I need help. I've got a drinking problem." Alan Bono was dead. And in Brookfield, a town that had never seen a murder in its 193-year history, people were like, "What do you mean Alan Bono was stabbed to death by Arne?"
Mm-hmm.
Now, the case should have been open and shut. There was a violent altercation, alcohol, a knife. Like, it's pretty standard, as awful as that is to say. But then the Warrens came forward with a claim that would make this case infamous. They said it wasn't Arne. He wasn't in control of his body that day. When he stabbed Alan, it wasn't Arne's rage, it was the demons. They told the police, they told the press, they told anyone who would listen that the devil made him do it. Arne's lawyer, Martin Manella, was intrigued because he's like, "I have to get this boy off on a murder charge. And now I have these famous paranormal investigators who are basically saying it wasn't him. Can I make this work?"
There's no room for the paranormal in law.
You would think not. You would think not. But he's stewing on this and he's like, okay, if nothing else, this is going to draw a ton of attention from all over the country, maybe all over the world. So he attempted something no defense attorney in U.S. history ever had: a plea of not guilty by reason of demonic possession. It was bold.
Yeah.
And it was doomed from the start.
Well, yeah.
Because Judge Robert Callahan dismissed this claim immediately. He said no scientific or objective proof that demonic possession even exists, and therefore you cannot use it as a legal defense. The jury would never hear the word possession. Instead, Manella did pivot to self-defense, but by then, the media storm was already raging. Cameras swarmed the courthouse. Reporters ran headlines like, "The devil made me do it." Book deals followed. The Warrens were front and center again, because throughout this entire thing, the Warrens are saying, you cannot charge this man. He was not in control. It wasn't him. Inside the courtroom, though, it was far more human. Witnesses testified. The medical examiner described the wounds. Debbie's sister spoke about the argument, and the prosecution argued that this was simply alcohol, anger, poor judgment, nothing more. The jury deliberated for 15 hours over 3 days, and on November 24th, 1981, verdict came down. Guilty of first-degree manslaughter. 10 to 20 years in prison.
Here's the thing. Before we continue, if I'm on that jury, obviously you can't use any outside influence, nothing like that. And that's fair. But if you look at this kid, he's a good kid. He's never been in an altercation. There was an agitated, drunk person. There were witnesses that, yes, okay, I like manslaughter, yes, but first-degree manslaughter, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Yeah. So he was sentenced 10 to 20 years. He only served 5.
Okay. I could get behind that.
Yeah.
You still need,
I was like, all right. He still has his life. Even after prison, Arne insisted he had no memory of the attack whatsoever. Debbie stayed by his side through the whole thing, saying she never doubted him, and they eventually married.
Oh, Debbie.
I know, she sounds so sweet. For the Glatzel family, however, the story never really ended. David grew older, moved away, and later claimed that what happened to him as a child was misrepresented, even exploited. His brother Carl would publicly accuse the Warrens of fabricating the possession story, calling it a hoax for fame and profit. He claimed their mother had been drugging David with sleeping pills and that the so-called possession symptoms were likely the side effects of those drugs mixed with fear and suggestion.
But you can say that about anything, really. And while, yes, I know that Ed and Lorraine, there's some controversy there, and there are some things that I'm kind of like, I don't like that. But it wouldn't have benefited them in that time because they were already one of the top paranormal investigators. For them to really put themselves out there, like, there is no reason that they would want to get a murderer off.
Yeah.
You know?
And Lorraine, on her deathbed, when asked about this, repeated the same line. I know what I saw. The boy was possessed.
Yeah.
So even years after, on her deathbed, she claimed, I saw it. I know exactly what I saw.
Now, that's my just my personal opinion. I can objectively say I do believe that something was going on there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I do too. Absolutely, I do. It sounds very similar to the Enfield poltergeist. Like, this little boy was speaking in a language that he didn't know. I can't, if you were like, Chantal, pull out some Latin, I don't know Latin. So
I know,
that's not happening.
Like, every year I go to a Spanish speaking country and I still know baño, cerveza, like por favor, gracias,
Carpe
like
diem.
like
like my
that's as far as I ever got.
This was an 11-year-old boy in the 80s. I mean, could he have learned Latin? Maybe, but probably not. This is Brookfield. Like, settle down. We're not at Harvard here. So, yeah, for years and years and years, there was debate over this. Was it a possession? Were they just using this as an excuse to try to get Arne off? But nevertheless, courts continue to say if it can't be tested, if it can't be tried, but the culture says, tell me everything. And so that tension sent this case echoing across books and years later into streaming queues and movie multiplexes.
The newest Conjuring.
Yeah, there's so many. If we think about this and we think about the horror movies we watched in the last 10 years, this is the plot. This is how it goes. So hold that feeling, because now we're going back a century to a courthouse where the strangest witness wasn't blocked at the door. She walked in from the grave, if you believe the telling. Now, this is 1897. And we know it's very easy for us to say, you know, we didn't have TikTok. We weren't filming things. We didn't have physical proof for our eyes. All we had was written down witness accounts. However, in Greenbrier County, West Virginia, a young woman, Elva Zona Hester Shue, which, what a name.
That is a name.
She went by Zona, is found dead in her home. A quick ruling, natural causes. Her mother, Mary Jane Hester, refuses to accept it. She says Zona's spirit came to her at night, described her husband's violence, and showed exactly how her neck was broken at the first joint. And I want you to picture this because I did, and it brought me an immeasurable amount of joy. So Mary Jane shows up, to the prosecutor's office, and she's like, I want her body exhumed. You need to exhume her body. She came to me in a dream. Her neck is broken at the first vertebrae, at the first joint. They called it a joint. Because remember, it's 1897, okay? And she pushes and pushes and pushes until finally they're like, fine, we will bring up her body. We'll have a look at her neck. But like, if it's not broken, we're putting her back in the ground and I don't ever want to see you again.
Fair.
So they dig her up. Zona comes up out of the grave. And the autopsy finds a broken neck at the first joint.
Now, let's play devil's advocate here. So could it be that somebody who killed her maybe said something and she got this idea and then dreamed about the idea that had already been planted in her mind, thinking it was her child?
100% possible. 100% possible. However, the fact remains, Zona was buried under natural causes. And it wasn't natural causes. She had a broken neck, which they never looked for before because she was just found dead in the kitchen. They assumed, like,
Heart
listen,
attack
it's
or
1897. Could have been anything. She could have sneezed too hard. Like,
fair.
shit was bad.
That's very interesting.
Zona's husband. Now, these names. Erasmus Troutshoe goes on trial for murder.
Can you just, I need a moment.
Erasmus. Anyway, he's going by Trout.
Shoe.
Shoe.
Because dropping, okay, yeah. Mr. Trout, next witness.
So he goes on trial for murder. On the stand, Mary Jean tells the jury what her daughter's ghost told her. Whether the prosecutor believed in ghosts or not, the door was now open and they couldn't argue the fact that she went into the ground, natural causes, nobody looked at her body. And while she was still in the ground, her mom was like, she broke her neck at the first joint, and she did.
Interesting.
Trout Shoe is convicted and sentenced to life. West Virginia eventually raises a historical marker memorializing what locals still call the Greenbrier Ghost, the only U.S. case where testimony from a ghost helped secure a murder conviction.
That's very interesting.
I know.
I
now,
like
to be
it.
precise, historians will tell you the conviction didn't rest legally on spectral evidence. It rested on the exhumation and the forensics that followed.
But that wouldn't have happened had the
That's
ghost not come and been
right.
like, yo, check out this motherfucker. He fucking fucked my shit up.
Check out my neck, Ma.
Right?
Shit ain't good. Yeah, so that's just it. So I found that so interesting because he was fully convicted, not because of the dream, but because of the exhumation, which never would have happened if Mom hadn't been like, hi, can you please dig her up? Because I'm going to need you to look at her neck.
I'm quite surprised Mom didn't get fucking burned at the stake after that one.
I know. Right? I'm like, were we far enough along that they weren't doing that shit anymore? I don't know. Mom is cool.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
like her.
Okay, Ash, we've walked with demons and ghosts, but now I'm going to tell you a story about a killer who says he was asleep the whole time.
I know this.
Phoenix, Arizona, a suburban backyard. A neighbor hears a struggle, looks over the wall, and later tells a jury what he saw. A husband moving with purpose, a body near a swimming pool. The victim is Yarmila Falater. The accused is her husband, Scott. The wounds are shocking. Dozens of stab wounds and then a drowning. Falater later confesses to nothing he remembers. He claims he was in the grip of non-REM parasomnia, which is a fancy word for sleepwalking, performing complex, violent actions while his conscious mind was offline. His defense mounts experts' family history and prior episodes. Automatism, they argue, the body acting without the person actually aware. So this is his defense in court. The prosecution paints another picture. A neighbor testifies he saw Falater rush his barking dog during the attack. A moment of chilling awareness because they were arguing. So the dog is barking during the attack. Woof, woof, woof. If you're asleep and your conscious mind isn't present, you wouldn't have the wherewithal to know that you needed to shut the dog up.
It's fair.
And this is what the prosecution was riding a huge portion of this case on. Because you're not asleep, because the dog barking wouldn't alert you and wouldn't bother you if you were asleep.
But let's look at another. So my grandfather was would go out in the community, sleepwalker.
Yeah.
And my son is a sleepwalker. Now, I can ask my son questions.
Yeah.
And we have conversations. His end might not make sense all the time. But I've seen my son go into the bathroom, use the bathroom. I mean, he tried to wash his hands with not soap, but like I've seen him do things. And I would be like, buddy, like, you're peeing on the floor. Like,
yeah.
But, after seeing someone, and he did this every night for years.
Right.
Like playing with toys. like fucking
Having a great time.
around all the time.
But yeah, but here's the thing. Those are all things that he can do without fully being conscious.
Fair.
Where the prosecutor was like, I have an issue with this, is you wouldn't be hushing up the dog because you don't know what you're doing. Now, they did argue, is it possible that in his waking life, he was constantly shushing up the dog?
I was going to say, if you were sleepwalking, you'd be like, Bo, shut up.
Shut up. Seriously.
This
and
could be something.
This is just it. So then there was another thing that was a little weird. Police find the bloody knife and gloves hidden in the car. So again,
that's weird because you wouldn't, but
I know.
There's like, there could have been a moment where maybe he did wake up. Maybe he was like, what the fuck is happening here? And then he panicked and he had that moment of like, you know, I truly do believe that this is something that can happen.
Yeah. Well,
we can, like, honestly though, if we can believe that a mother can like have like freak-like strength, and it is documented, and people have witnessed a mom lifting a car. And that is like unscientific, it doesn't make sense. How come we can't look at this and be like, maybe there are cases where somebody was not with, you know, when you drive somewhere and all of a sudden you get there and you're like, how did I get here? Yeah. I don't remember the drive, but I was braking, stopping at red lights, stopping at stop signs, not hitting pedestrians, but I have no recollection of doing it.
Yeah. I know. So it's like, it's iffy. So that being said, the jury did not take this into account, and they did find him guilty of first-degree murder. The sleepwalking defense did fail, and Falater remains in an Arizona prison. But my friend, across the border, a decade earlier, in Canada, the same defense worked. In 1987, Kenneth Parks, 23-year-old Toronto man, drove 14 miles while asleep to his in-laws' home. He attacked them, killing his mother-in-law and seriously injuring his father-in-law, then drove to a police station covered in blood, confused, and said, I just woke up and I think I killed someone. Tests later showed deep sleep patterns consistent with, here's a word, get ready.
Let's go.
Somnambulism. Sometimes when I'm doing this research, I'm like, I got to throw the whole case out because I can't say that word.
I have not done cases on areas of the world because I'm like, I can't do that to these people. I
practiced in the mirror somnambulism 4 times because I was like,
we also did this with one of my cases.
Yeah, that's right.
I had to, and then I wrote it out.
The Stashiga. Because it was not spelled Stashiga.
See? Stashiga. Fucking forget about it. Anyways, back to Canada.
Anyway, guys, sleep pattern consistent with somnambulism. Yeah. There was no motive. He had no motive to kill these people. No history of violence. And he had a documented record of sleep disorders and stress.
Now, does our American friend have a documented record of sleepwalking, things like that?
He did.
See?
He did.
Poor guy.
I know.
If he's not, like, if he's not actually, you know, if you are guilty, go fuck yourself and rot. But if you're...
There is a bit of a difference here that I could see.
Yes.
Because in Phoenix, the hidden knife, the silenced dog, like there were other things.
Things are whack, yeah.
This guy, like Kenneth, as soon as he woke up and saw the blood on him, he was like, my fucking God, and drove himself to the police station. Really upset. So there are some differences, but here we are. So anyway, Kenneth's defense presented EEG results and medical testimony showing he was in an automatic unconscious state. In 1988, a Canadian jury acquitted him, accepting that the acts occurred while sleepwalking. The Supreme Court of Canada later upheld that verdict, calling it non-insane automatism.
Imagine. Now, so I have a hard time with this because I really do think you are capable of doing things like this. Like, I like to think about it like this. So I've been having like fucking sleep fucking paralysis and some of the craziest nightmares. What if during one of these nightmares, somehow I got a knife in my hand and I just went to town? You know,
I
like
know.
I just don't know.
I know. And that's the thing is we just don't know. And I mean, this case that we're talking about, this is in 1987. Okay. Now, things have come a long way in terms of now there's sleep studies clinics where
Don't
you
you
can
think they
go,
should be doing that to him now? Like, let's
maybe.
revisit this. Let's take a look.
I
Let's
know.
take a scientific approach to this now.
I would be really interested to see the first case about this, Scott,
Yeah.
if they hooked him up
That's what I mean.
to see, like, because he's serving life in prison. And if, like we said, if he did it consciously and he killed his wife knowing what the fuck he was doing,
Yeah.
bye, go away. But if he's there and he didn't want his wife dead and he's sitting rotting in a jail because he fell asleep, I have a problem with that. But then it brings up a whole conversation. Like we could just
I
keep
just
going
watched your
because,
brain go into a whole other.
yeah, because you think about it and you think, okay, so this is where I get scared because I don't trust human beings.
Then they start using this, right?
Okay, so I was going to say, let's pretend I am in a loveless marriage. I hate my husband. Okay, I don't. Matt, you're the shit. And I start thinking, okay, I don't want to get divorced because of whatever fucking reason people don't get
Because
divorced.
you've already had two.
Because you've already.
I'm just kidding.
Poor Mike.
Love you, babe.
Mike, if you're listening, watch out. Tie her down at night. But do you know what I mean? I'm in a loveless marriage. I want the money from the payout, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you start faking that you're sleepwalking, okay, you've got this all planned out and you're like, I know exactly what I have to do. So you start faking that you're sleepwalking and your husband starts telling friends at work, oh my God, must be menopause. She started sleepwalking. And months later, he ends up dead and you're like, I was asleep.
Yeah.
Like,
this can go both ways because really there's not a lot of cases.
No.
And then you don't want it to become a thing. But then also, I don't think anyone's life should be just thrown in for the cause. I don't think anyone deserves to lose their life for the what ifs of the world.
Exactly.
You know? So it's kind of
and it is heartbreaking because you think like if you died at Mike's hands because he was sleepwalking.
Yeah.
I don't care that you were asleep. My girl is gone.
Fair.
You got to go. You know, where's
true.
the justice in that? And it would feel so wrong for the families to just be like, oh, he was asleep. So it's fine that my loved one is dead.
I know.
It's hard. It's hard.
This is a tricky thing, eh?
Mm-hmm.
You really fucked me up. I'm going to be thinking about this all day. I'll be at work like,
I know. Like, what
asking my clients, like, so what do you think about this? They'll be like, fuck me.
They'll be like, can you just sugar me and get this over with?
Fuck up. Actually, most of my clients now know, like, a lot of times I'll be like, so did you hear about?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on?
They're just prepared for it.
Yeah.
I know when I go to physio, it's the same thing. He's just like, so what case are we working on this week? So those are my weird stories. And I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because, very often court cases are black and white. But there are times where it's not, it is gray.
Yeah.
It is gray. And we can argue that fact all day long, but there's things like Mary Jane. How did you know your daughter's neck was broken? You couldn't possibly known that. What the Warrens witnessed with Arne. And then he goes on to later get angry and kill someone. I don't know, guys.
Things are suspicious.
I know. So let us know what you think about this episode or about some of these cases. Where do you stand on this? Or if you
know of the case, I want to know.
Tell us.
Fuck our day up. Like, we want to read these things and be like, oh shit. And then you've lost us for a couple of days.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to make a note at the end of this episode because we almost have enough listener paranormal stories for a whole episode. So if you've been thinking and listening and you're like, oh, I have a story from when I was a kid or from when I was whatever, send it in to us. You can email us, you can TikTok us, you can Instagram us, you can Facebook us, we're everywhere. Send it to us.
I just had the funniest intrusive thought.
Tell me.
I picture other girls collecting candles and stuff. And you and I are collecting paranormal stories. And we're like, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
Wild and over here with our paranormal ghost stories. Yeah, send them in. I'm so excited to do an episode where we cover your stories, your ghost stories.
Yeah.
And if you're like, my family will disown me if they find out that I've sent in our family ghost story too. You can be anonymous. We won't say your name. Just mention it when you send us the episode or when you send us the story. Just mention, can you keep my name out of it?
Yep.
Keep my name out your mouth. We hope you all have a wonderful Tuesday, and we have a very special episode on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that you all tune in. We have a special guest joining us, and it's going to be a tough one, but there's no other group of humans that we would rather do it with than all of you.
Absolutely.
So have a wonderful day, and we will see you on Friday.
Bye.
Bye.